Like, yeah, the money aspect of it, you're there to sell. It's a business. You need to make money, but you need to take care of that homeowner first and the money will come.
You don't necessarily focus on the numbers, or do you?
I don't focus on the numbers until the day is done. What did I do today? If I'm not happy with today's results, you look back and say, hey, what did I do wrong? What could have I done better? How could have I approached this if someone's like, no, I'd rather have a second opinion. Okay, that's my fault because I wasn't clear the first time. And then if I have a really good day, doesn't mean that you take a day off tomorrow. Doesn't mean that the next day you get to relax. It means, oh, hey, you did X amount today. You need to do X amount tomorrow. No ifs, ands, or buts, because you showed it to yourself that you can do it. So keep doing it.
Have you always had that mindset?
If you are psyching yourself out and thinking you're not good enough when you are, then you can't blame anybody but yourself.
Hello, I'd like to welcome you all to the Wisdom of Wrench podcast. My name's Kevin Comerford, and I'm your host of the podcast, and we've got a great show for you today. We are going to be talking about electrical, and in particular, electrical service. We have a very special guest today from Parker & Sons out of Phoenix, Arizona. You're going to meet Isaiah Rubio here in just a second. I just want to talk about Isaiah really quick because what he's doing out there in Arizona is really special. He is a two-time GOAT Award winner. And when I say two-time GOAT Award winner, I want to emphasize the fact that he finished in first place each of the years. So you've seen him up on stage getting the big fist with the wrench in its hand 2 years in a row. And by the way, he's on track this year to do almost 80% more than what he finished with last year. So like I said, we've got a really special show for you today. So let's get right into it. Let's introduce Isaiah. Isaiah, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing well, and I hope everybody else is as well.
Yeah. Thank you. We've got a great, like I said, you and I have chatted a little bit before the show today, and I think our listeners and our audience are in for a great show. So let's get right into the category that you have dominated, the category that you've won 2 years in a row, electrical service.
Yes.
And would you just give our audience a quick recap of what electrical service means and how it's different than electrical sales?
So electrical service is we do the job all the time. We go to the house, we diagnose the problem, we're speaking to the homeowner, and we get it done. Typically, if we're able to do it right then and there, we do. If we have to schedule it, we will, but we're the ones on hand with the tools getting ready to get it done. Sales is more of a getting everybody situated and having an install team come out and do it for them. And typically we're doing everything our own. If we have help, it's great, but typically we're doing everything.
Yeah, this is what I want everybody to understand. You go into a client's home, residential client's home, you sell the work.
Yes.
You're coming back at another time, if it's obviously a panel and you've got to go through the city, you're coming back to do the install.
Yes.
Or you're diagnosing something, and as we talked about earlier, a rejuvenation or an outlet, and you're doing it right there on the spot.
Exactly.
Correct?
Yes, exactly.
So you eat what you kill.
Exactly.
In other words, right?
Yeah.
And by the way, you don't even bring it back to the camp to share. You eat it right there out in the field.
Yeah. But you have to. A lot of homeowners are expecting as well. It's they call you for a reason and they want their problem fixed. So if we go out there and we're just like, oh, hey, it's going to be another face, a lot of them get a little antsy. They're like, well, I have that relationship with you. I talked with you. I want you here. I want you doing it because I know you. And that's when that rapport is very, very strong. And it's best for the technician to just do it because then they're going to feel way better about it. They're not going to call you for warranties. They're not going to be upset. You're going to get that 5-star review and they're going to call back again and say, hey, I want Isaiah back at my house because he did this, he did great work, and I have another issue. And they're not going to want another electrician. They're not going to call another company. It's because they could, everybody can, but you've already established in their mind you're the best person for their home, and they are only ever going to ask for you. That's just the best way to do it.
If you came to my house and I've got several of these people in my phone, you would be what I call my electrical guru. I don't call it the electrical guy. It's the electrical guru. I've got a pool guru. I've got a roofing guru. But to have someone like you that can build that relationship and do the work.
There you go. Yeah.
What a combination.
That's what makes it more tricky, especially being electrical, because it's not at face value. You have to find what's wrong and fix it, because electrical is tricky. You can misdiagnose at any given time. You can also install something that's not for that homeowner, and it can be a problem very quickly. So asking those questions and getting to know them on a personal level first to find out their use case, to figure out their problem specifically, because you can have 10 houses all with the same problem and all have different results, because the person that lives in that house is going to use and abuse that electrical system in a completely different way. So it's catered to that homeowner. You have to learn that homeowner just like you learned your electrical.
Yeah, let's talk about that, because there's some questions. I want to come back to that.
Yeah.
What questions to ask to determine how they use and abuse.
Yeah.
Okay, we're coming back to that.
You got it.
I want to before we come back to that, I just want to share with our audience, in 2023 you did 895,000 electrical service, remember?
Yeah.
Because you do have work on top of that you sell, that another install crew does come out.
Yes. Yeah.
So let's be clear. Your numbers, as we talked about before, that you see from Parker are greater than these numbers that we see here on GOAT, because you do turn some over to install teams. But what you did yourself was 895 in 2023. What you did in 2024 was 1.2 million.
Yes.
You're on pace in 2025 to do north of $2 million.
Yeah.
In electrical service. Breathtaking, my friend. Breathtaking. Yeah. Incredible.
And I think the growth, like I explained earlier too, the growth was because I knew I can always do more, but I was probably downplaying myself because I didn't know, like I said, I didn't know what the GOAT award was. I didn't know that there was other companies out there that were all participating in this. And I was like, okay, well, I know I'm the best me that I can do. Let me see if I could be the best at all times. So it really pushed me to go higher.
Yeah. And you mentioned it earlier before the show about how can I be more efficient?
Exactly. Yeah.
So let's talk about that. What were some of the things that you did to become more efficient year over year?
Well, it came from making sure I had to take less trips to supply houses as physically possible, making sure my van was stocked and cleaned at all times, making sure that after every job I organized everything back to where it needed to be. Every night coming home, charging all my batteries. It's just being as prepared for the day as the day can ever be. So I never have to be unprepared. If I go to a house, I have that outlet. I have that breaker. I have that main breaker. I have it on my van to where I can take a job that could take an hour just from running to supply houses and take it to 5 minutes because I have it on me. And if I use it, I write it down and I resupply before I need to use it again. And that cut down so much driving time. And talking to the homeowner before I get to the house letting them know who I am, letting them know what I'm here to do for them. And they gave me a little description of what they got going on because our CSRs are not electricians. So I was like, hey, I would like you to, in detail, explain to me what you have going on. So mentally, before I get there, I can start figuring out in my head, hey, it can be one of several items. Do I have those items on my van? And then I can prepare for it. So when I get to that house, I'm ready. They see that you're efficient. They see that you're tidy. You give them the white glove service, and you're going to get that job every time.
So going back on what you just said, Isaiah, about less trips to the supply house.
Yeah.
How and I think you were saying you make sure your truck is stocked properly. Was there a time where you were taking more trips, significantly more trips to the?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And why was that?
Well, it was mainly, there's two reasons, right? 50% was 100% my fault, not being proactive about what I had in my van and what I was using, and just use it and go, and not replenishing quick enough. And then the other part was our supply house, or our warehouse here at Parker, they get our orders, but they got a vast amount of people that they have to service. So it takes time for them to be able to replenish. So I go through our supervisors and I say, hey, can I get a truck stock order so I can order these parts that I haven't had gotten back to me yet, and I can replenish them now. And when our warehouse, by the time they're already stocking our vans again, I've already ran through that truck stock so I can replenish that way. So it's like a revolving door at all times, just making sure that everything is always stocked. And it's definitely going to have to be some organization on the tech's part, because it's our responsibility to make sure we have what we need to get the job done efficiently. So it stems from you knowing what you're using the most and what you're using most frequently, and making sure it's restocked on your van at all times. So it stems from there first.
Got it. Okay. So just a big part of teamwork is a big component of this. Yes. Like you said, taking self-responsibility, and if it's meant to be, it's up to me, which I love.
Yeah.
And rather than blaming, it's like, look, if it's meant to be, it's up to me. I'm going to make sure I take action to make sure I get truck stock, or whatever I need to do, whoever I need to call, whatever fire I need to light in order for me to get my stuff put on my truck. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but that's what it sounds like you're doing.
Yeah. Same thing with keeping your van organized, your batteries charged, that you're not tripping over things, that you can have a part that falls off the shelf and it can tuck away so easily because you're not organized. And that one part's the one you need, and that's going to make or break an hour for you. Because you thought you had one, but now you can't find it. So why isn't it organized? I have everything labeled in separate bins in my van. So it's one less thing your mind has to go to when you're trying to think about how you're going to fix somebody's house. Empty your mind as much as physically possible and focus on one thing at a time. So if you're organized and you keep everything separate, it's a no-brainer, and you're just, oh, my breakers are here, my outlets are here, my GFIs are here, and you're running and gunning the whole time, and you're very fast that way. And that's going to then cut your time at that service call at that house, where you can go and do another call right after. And then now your dry time in between, same thing. I get gas in the morning, I refill my cooler in the morning, and I start a lot earlier than we're meant to, but it helps. It helps me, and it helps me stay on track for the whole day. So
that's great. What great advice. So let's go back a little bit and talk about like your background, where you grew up, because you've been at Parker for 3 years.
Yes.
So give us a little bit of your background, your journey, where you grew up, how you got into electrical.
Well, I'm native here to Arizona, so born and raised, stayed out here the entire time. So kind of know my area quite a bit. So it makes it a little easier to map everything in your head. You know the area, you know the houses, you know how people take care of them, you know how people flip houses. It makes it a little bit more easy knowing your clientele. I started in the trades 10 years ago, gonna be my 11th year blue collar worker the entire time. I went to 2 separate colleges, did not like the office work, and it was just not for me. And like I said, my uncle he was working with ammonia. My dad was a plumber. My uncle was another plumber. So they were all doing well in in the trades. And I was like, okay, I want to be a part of that space. So I asked my uncle about his ammonia background, and he said, hey, you need to go to a refrigeration school in order to get acquainted with ammonia systems. You have to have some AC background. You have to have what's called your universal license to work on all that stuff. So I said, okay. So I joined RSI that was out here and started to learn about AC systems instead of like electrical. But when I was learning about electrical from RSI, there was a NASA engineer that was our instructor there. And he was very, very passionate about electrical and how wiring works and how wiring is. And that's what caught my eye. And I was like, hey, yeah, I don't know how I want to do the AC stuff, because he was a very good instructor. And what he told me was anybody can troubleshoot a unit when it's all open in front of you, but it takes a real good mind to find a problem in a wall that you can't see. And then when he told me that, that's when I said, hey, I think electrical is for me. I would rather do that. It's more beneficial to me having troubleshooting skills where you can't find the problem. You can't just go and make somebody's house look like Swiss cheese and cut the walls open. You have to be able to make it to where you can see the issue and diagnose the issue without damaging people's home. And that's very rewarding when you can do that without having to do any demolition to get to it.
What was that instructor's name?
His name was Jeremy.
Jeremy,
yeah. He doesn't let us know his last name because he said that was too formal for him. He's retired, and he said, no one's going to call me professor. No one's going to call me sir. He's like, we are all humans on the same level, and I'm going to give you knowledge. And he's like, what you do with it is up to you. And that's how he left it. Yeah, he was a great guy.
Let's just hope that Jeremy gets an opportunity to see this and gets an opportunity to see one of his disciples. Because it's so clear to me that Jeremy's passion, Jeremy's enthusiasm, Jeremy's influence changed the course of your life.
100%. Yeah. Because electrical was not even on my radar. It never was.
Is that really cool? That they're like, you could be that person to someone else, which I'm sure you have been. Jeremy, in his passion, because clearly he had a passion for this, right? And he
sure did.
He was able to share that emotion and that passion with you to the point where you're like, I'm in. I love this.
Yeah, I'm a sponge. Let me soak it all in. That's what it came down to.
Wow, that's so cool. Love that. Okay,
Yeah,
so let's keep talking about. So you go to RSI, you meet Jeremy. He is the modern day electrical Jesus.
He had a beard too.
And you become one of his disciples, and you're out there spreading the good word.
Yeah.
So
we started learning how to wire houses from there, like how to rope houses. That's like how new construction is, and just the fundamentals of how electrical works. But after that, I then left the course after I was done with his course, because the rest was just AC. And he's like, this is as far as I could teach you, because this is as far as the instructions go. So I was like, okay, well, now I need to find my way into doing electrical. And that's when I found a different mentor, still best friend to today. He used to work here at Parker. Hopefully he comes back soon. But yeah, he taught me a lot. And and that just like spiraled into this whole thing where now we're doing service. And yeah, it became great from there.
That's great. Well, we won't put his name out there, but I'm sure he's going to watch this podcast. Let's hope he gets back to Parker sooner than later.
Oh, I already told him he has no choice.
I love that. I mean, why not make more money, have a great career, and tremendous job security? I know what Parker offers, and it's all of those things.
Everything and more. Yeah.
Yeah. That's great. And a great culture.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Okay, so you okay, then tell me what so you get in, you graduate from RSI, you get into the trades. Okay. Do you get right into electrical? Are you working for other companies, or tell me what that?
Yeah, I worked for other companies, and but I never graduated from RSI. I left the course because the rest was just AC related, and it wasn't going to be my way of going anymore. So I was like, okay, this is irrelevant to me now. So I left school and went straight into the trades as a grunt worker, like we all should, and just said, hey, I want to learn from scratch. I was like, I know I have some basics down. I can do, rope houses. I can wire things. I can run wire all day long. But I was like, I want to learn the technical side of it. So I got with the guy that was doing it for 10 plus years at that time. And he was like, I'm going to show you like you're stupid. And I'm going to make it seem very blunt to you. Even if I repeat myself, I'm going to make sure you have good habits. Mm-hmm. So he taught me like if I knew nothing about electrical from scratch. And I just did everything he said, even though I'm like, yes, I know how to wire an outlet. Yes, I can wire up a light switch. Like, stop repeating to me, But I just kept my mouth shut. And I said, okay, well, I'm going to take everything with a grain of salt and listen to him word for word. Write things down. I carried a notebook with me. What I used to do was if I had to borrow a tool more than twice, that was the next tool purchase that I had to buy. And every paycheck, I was telling myself I need to buy one tool at a time to make up the tools that I need to get the jobs done. So I can be great at my job, but also I don't have to depend on anybody else. So that's how I started getting all of my tools and all my knowledge that I possibly could, asking questions twice and foremost. But that's just learning the electrical portion. Doing service was a completely different animal. That was completely different. Having to talk to an homeowner, that was the scary part of trying to learn how to not talk yourself out of work. That was hard.
Mm-hmm. Good. We're gonna come back to that.
Oh yeah.
So you work there. Your family? You've got a couple of children. Tell us about that real quick.
Wife. Yeah, 7 and going to be 9. So still kind of small, but they're great. They're doing great in school. Yeah, they're awesome kids. They don't like that I work late days sometimes, or if I work my weekends. Yeah, my daughter gets very, very upset. She's like, "Oh, you work today?" She's like, "Why?" But I just explain, you'll understand when you get older. So that's all. But as of right now, I stopped working my weekends for like the last month or so I can give them that time that they need, because they just started school back up, and now they're having their long days and they just want to have fun on the weekends. So
that's
they're great kids.
Well, let's give them a shout out. And your wife, what are their names?
Yeah, Juanita, and then the kids are Calvin and Vicky.
Love it. That's great. Okay, so then how did you come across Parker? How'd you get there?
Okay, so I worked at another company before, and then our old boss Nick Rogers here, that he's on his own endeavors now, but he was reaching out to me nonstop saying, "Hey, your buddy's over here. He's doing great. I think you should come over here." And I was very comfortable where I was at, and the comfort zone was what was eating me away from coming to Parker for so long. And I said, "Hey, I'm comfortable here. If I ever get the opportunity to go over there, I'll let you guys know." Well, the opportunity presented itself where I was no longer comfortable, but it was more personal reasons than anything. And I said, okay, well, let's give Parker a shot. I hear nothing but great things. I was like, but it was more nerve-wracking than anything to come from a smaller company into a bigger corporation. And I was like, okay, how is that going to change? How is, am I going to get, in my head, this is what I was perceiving, this is assuming on my part, was, am I going to get my ideas shot down? Am I not going to be heard? Am I another number here? All those things just ran through my head, and that's what was keeping me away. And once my buddy was here, and he's like, "No, man, it's not like that at all. Trust me, you want to be here." Yeah. So I was like, "Okay, I'll take the leap, and I'll show up." And I'm glad I did, and I don't plan on leaving. So it's just one of those. Yeah, it was a great decision. Definitely.
Yeah, and where in a big company like Parker, you get an opportunity to meet the president or see the president. I mean, I saw Daryl there.
Yeah, he was just
standing next to you. I mean, that's awesome. That's great. And I'm sure you know Paul Kelly, and he's a special man and built
they
a hell
all
of a
are.
business there. Yeah, just a wonderful culture that Paul and Daryl. Gosh, there's so many people there that have just done such a wonderful job.
Oh yeah, they're great.
Building such a beautiful business inside
If,
Wrench and inside Phoenix, Arizona.
well, if you have to work for a boss and you are not running your own company and you don't take directions well, these are the guys to work for because they listen. They will be there if you ever needed something, and they will get on it. So it's one of those. Definitely a good place to work, and I highly recommend it. We need more electricians too. So
We need more electricians too. There's a
yeah,
little plug, and this is
there
one of the
you
main
go.
reasons why we put our podcast out there for the whole world to see. Even though we're putting on display our top performers, it's so that we can get the word out that hey, there is plenty of room for you on our team as well. So thank you for that plug.
Yeah, no
Any
worries.
electricians out there in Phoenix, Arizona? Come on, baby. Come on. You too can be an Isaiah Rubio and go on these goat trips and be the best of the best.
Yeah, I want a challenge. Let's do it.
Yeah. So, okay. So, we learned about your family, your Parker journey. Anything else? So you get to Parker. Tell me about how that progresses to where you are today.
Yeah, so Parker was mainly like, yeah, I see what you've done at your other companies. Like, what can you do here? And I just said, hey, give me a van and I'll show you. And that's exactly what they did. The second day I was here, I had a van, and without even a uniform yet, I was out there and I was like, well, I don't need a uniform to represent that I can be the best I can be. And just started going out and doing my thing and making sure that everybody was taken care of, because it's not just like, yeah, the money aspect of it. You're there to sell. It's a business. You need to make money, but you need to take care of that homeowner first, and the money will come. So that's how I always looked at calls. That's how I still do today. And it works. It just does. You just show them that you're there for them regardless of what happens. And then I started going crazy after that and just kept going. And then I was like, oh Lord, there's a lot of calls here. And yeah, and I need every single one of them. So that's when I started just going at it after that.
Yeah. I love what you said. Take care of the customer first, and then the money comes.
It
Have
sure
you
does.
always had that mindset?
I got that mindset when I first started running service, because I started realizing like, hey, I'm not selling anything. This is kind of hard. I was fast paced talking and not explaining in layman's terms to people. I was explaining in technical term, thinking that made me sound smarter to a homeowner. If anything, it just did the opposite, because they're like, hey, I don't know that. I don't do electrical. Explain it to me where I understand what I'm paying for. And that was essentially my big downfall. I wasn't explaining right. And I started to look back at what I said, and I started practicing with my peers and saying, hey, if I went to your house and this is how I said it, would you say yes to me? And they're like, heck no, I don't even know what you're talking about. Why would I say yes to you for that? That doesn't make sense to me. So then I realized it was a me issue. And I was like, okay, well, I need to step back and I need to understand electrical like a toddler can understand electrical. And I need to dumb it down to where I'm not calling them incompetent. I'm not saying that they don't know anything. I'm just saying in general, it's not their field. It's my field. And it's my job to educate them the best that I know how. And then that's when I had to step away and start really understanding electrical way more thoroughly than I thought I did. And then being able to talk to the homeowners and saying, hey, this is your issue. This is what we need to do, but let me explain why. Let me explain why this is the only course of action we can take. Let me explain why I have multiple options, that because we can go multiple routes to fix this issue. And once I started doing that, then I started breaking barriers down within that homeowner to where every time they're like, let's do it. So it was very hard at first, but then once you got that rhythm going, then it becomes like nothing. It's like drinking water. You can do it all day. So
Yeah. Are there some go-to analogies or simple paradigms that you use to explain that you could
well,
share? Is there something around an electrical panel or a circuit or just how electricity flows? Is there
yeah.
something like
Well, I tell them everybody knows
dumb
their
something down
body.
for me? Go ahead.
Yeah, everybody knows their body, so you use analogies from your body. The panel is your heart, the wires are your veins, your lights are your lungs. There's things that move throughout your system. And right now, you have a vein that's clogged, and I need to be able to unclog it. Right now, your heart is in very poor shape. We have to do some surgery on it. That's just the best way you can explain it to people. Or if they have incorrect non-UL listed breakers in their panel that are not meant for that panel, you can say, hey, it's like putting a Ford part in a Chevy. It just does not work. It might turn on, but it's going to be rough. So those are like the best ways you can kind of explain it to layman's terms. But you also look at what people have in their home. If they're a football fan, I'm going to do football analogies. If they like flowers, like a florist, you're going to do some flower analogies. You just have to be well diverse in yourself to be able to catch it by just taking a glance. Like, oh, hey, this person likes comic books. Let's talk. Oh, hey, your panel's doing bad. Well, it's like having a bad issue of this comic book that just got doused in water. It was worth $1,000. Now it's worth nothing because it doesn't do what it's supposed to. And they just go, oh, okay, I understand that, because now you're putting it in terms that they are familiar with. So same thing with like gaming consoles, pool tables, a pool in the backyard. You can take any form of thing that they have, an item in their house, and tie that around every electrical aspect, as long as you can understand it yourself. So it's just getting your mind more creative, because being creative is key in an electrical field. You have to be able to solve problems without tearing things apart. So a creative mind goes a long way.
That's great. Love that. Pay attention to what you see in a homeowner's house, and then build the paradigm, build the analogy around that, so a guy like me would understand it.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's great. That's great. So finishing in the top, number one.
Yeah.
3 years in a row. How do you keep yourself inspired? How do you do it day in and day out?
You focus on one thing at a time, right? You can't change your day. You can't turn back time. You can't predict the future. So you just focus on the now. What can I do right now to be the best me that I can be? There's that saying, you have to work for it. Anything you want, you have to be able to work for it every single day. That's what I do. I'm willing to work for it. So when I lose motivation, it's hot, or like I'm not doing so good that day, or I'm getting more no's than I usually do, and you start getting flustered and you're like, what the heck's going on? You have to just go back to your fundamental of, hey, you're here to work for it. You can't change anything other than yourself. Don't let it control you. And just start back, take a deep breath, go to the next house, clean slate. And then you keep doing it over and over again. Focus on one thing at a time. Next thing you know, you're like, oh, hey, I just did 50,000 in 1 week. And you're like, so things must be going good. Let's keep that up. So, yeah.
So it seems like you don't necessarily focus on the numbers, or do you?
I don't focus on the numbers until the day is done. What did I do today? If I'm not happy with today's results, there's always tomorrow. So it's more of, you can't take back. You look back and say, hey, what did I do wrong? What could have I done better? How could have I approached this? If someone's like, no, I'd rather have a second opinion. Okay, that's my fault because I wasn't clear the first time. So I take those harder on myself and then focus on the numbers at the end of the day. And then I start looking at it saying, okay, I did 25% of my goal today. That means I have to hit 200% tomorrow. There's no choice. You have no choice but to be better than what you did today. So the next day, I'm focused on nothing but doing better than what I did the day before. And then if I have a really good day, doesn't mean that you take a day off tomorrow. Doesn't mean that the next day you get to relax. It means, oh, hey, you did X amount today. You need to do X amount tomorrow. No ifs, ands, or buts, because you showed it to yourself that you can do it. So keep doing it, and try not to psych myself out. That's pretty much what it stems from. If you ever see anybody that ever is number one in any trade in any given, like anything, even sports, they don't take days off. They don't, they live and breathe what they do because they want to be the best. And it's just a mindset at the end of the day. If you are psyching yourself out and thinking you're not good enough when you are, then you can't blame anybody but yourself. That just turns into that.
Well, what I hear over and over and over again from you is something that's called extreme ownership.
Yeah.
That to me is what stands out about you more than anything. You know, stemming back from when you said, I explain things in technical terms early on in my career, it was a me problem.
Yeah, it was.
I have a rough day and maybe do mediocre on my results today. It's a me problem. Where what I love, it seems like you're always looking in. You're always looking inward versus blaming someone else. Even when it came to making sure my parts are restocked, you said, what do I need to do? What supervisor do I need to call? Because I know that the warehouse is busy. So what can I do?
Yeah. At the end of the day, you have to take that ownership.
Where did you get that ownership?
I would say it mainly stemmed from how I was raised with my father. There was no excuses or reasons to not have results. So he pretty much stemmed it into us. You have no choice. Be the best you can be.
I like that. Excuses are reasons not to have results. So said Mr. Rubio, your father. Shout out to your father. What's his first name?
His name is Pete. He passed away a year ago this time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Sounds like he was a special guy.
Really was.
That's great. That's great. That's great. Okay, so all right. Let's switch over to, we talked about, you know, how you stay on top, being inspired. And you were very clear that I got to take it one call at a time, be right here, right now. What can I do right in this moment to be the best that I can be?
Mm-hmm.
You said all that stuff. What are you doing to make sure you take care of yourself physically?
Wow. So you have to drink water like no other. And yeah, you might want that Coke, you might want that energy drink, but you got to just drink water. If you feel somewhat dehydrated or you feel like your mouth is a little dry and you're not doing your water intake, you're going to get a headache, and then it's going to slow you down at the end of the day. Water intake is very, very key. And I'm guilty of not getting enough sleep. So that's like another thing you have to do is make sure you're well rested. If you can't think logically, if your mind's scrambled, you're definitely going to suffer in the field. And nobody deserves that. They want you at your 100%. And because they called, you know, a professional company, they expect a professional. They don't expect someone drowsy, hungry, tired. They want you there at your best. So you just have to make sure you're being hydrated, you're getting enough sleep, you're eating well, you're not eating just greasy all the time and drinking carbureted drinks. You just want to be able to make sure you're doing everything humanly possible to be the best you for that person, because they called you thinking you're the best for a reason. So last thing you want to go to someone's house and saying, you know, I'm tired, I can't do this today. Sorry, it's not going to work for me. Or, oh, hey, yeah, you know, I'm feeling a little, I got a headache. I can't think straight today. I'll come back tomorrow. Things like that. That's not a good way to win anybody over, especially if they called you initially for that reason. Right. So just making sure that you're taking care of yourself and making sure you're strong for that day. If like, I remember when I was like under the weather enough to where I can work, but my mind wasn't clear. And it was by noon. I had no choice but to tell them, hey, I got to go home. I need to refresh because right now I'm just going to get angry at people. They don't deserve that. and I need to be able to take accountability and go home and just rest, and then start a new day tomorrow, because no one deserves you going to their house cranky. So
what I think the message there that you shared, which is really powerful, I need to drink proper water. I need to make sure I'm getting my sleep. I need to make sure I'm getting my nutrition so I can be of great service to others.
yeah.
That's what I heard you just say.
Yeah.
Do all this because they expect it.
Exactly.
Do all this because we are the professional company that we put ourselves out there in the marketplace as Parker and Sons. So damn it, I have to take care of myself. Yes, it's going to benefit me personally, but what you're doing is you're totally taking it off of yourself and saying, I need to do it for the client.
Yeah. Well, because it's easy to say I'm doing it for myself and having an excuse not to do it for yourself. Oh, I'm fine. Oh, I got enough sleep. But if you put it towards this is what they're expecting, then it's your job now to do it. Now you've made it a part of your day as your job. You get paid to take care of yourself. You get paid to be well hydrated. You don't get paid to be at home cranky or not feeling well or having a headache. You don't get paid to do that. You get paid to be the best you that you can be. And you're not the best you if you're hungry, tired, sleepy, It's just one of those.
So if anybody has ever heard or wanted to know what it looks like to be a professional, to be a pro, you just heard it from Isaiah.
Yeah.
To be a professional, take care of yourself so you can be at your best. I love that. I love that. Love it, love it, love it. All right, let's switch over to an actual call.
Okay.
And your actual process in a home.
So my first thing is because you're selling yourself more than you're selling any product that you're going to give them. You need to sell yourself to why you're that person for them. So I introduce myself. I tell them what I'm there to do. I like their decor. I like the paint that they chose. Where did they get their flooring from? Because I would love it. Even if it's not my taste, if it's unique, I always comment it, because we go through hundreds of houses. We see cookie cutter houses every day. The unique stuff is what pops out at you, and it tells you a lot about their personality. You get them talking about themselves. 5 minutes go by, now they're invested in what you have to say about anything in their house. You could talk about windows, you're not even there for windows, and you can almost convince them to say yes to windows. So it's just having them invested in you first. And then after they're invested in me, I get the no's out of the way. Like, what can this person say no to me for? So I said, hey, are you the only one in this purchase today? Or do I need to call a spouse? Or do we have to wait for somebody? Is there anybody else that needs to be a part of this discussion? Sometimes they say, yeah, my wife is also going to be a part of this discussion. Said, okay, well, in about 20 minutes when I'm about to relay some options for you, you mind if we get her on the phone and we can have a discussion about exactly what's going to happen and how we need to get things done? That's a no that you can easily get out of the way.
What a powerful use of words right there. Is there anybody else that needs to be a part of this discussion? Versus where I think people trip up, and maybe Isaiah tripped up early in his career. Is there anybody else that needs to be part of this decision?
Yeah.
Like, you can lose the sale right there by just using decision versus what I just heard you say, which was discussion.
Yeah. It's different because you're not trying to sell them anything. You're trying to give them a better way of life. You want them to go into their home and be able to use their home as it's needed, not as, oh, it's intended for X, Y, and Z. You can't have this air fryer here. You can't use this Keurig. You can't put your range here. It's like, who says that you can't? You can. Everything is possible. If you have a creative mind and you want something to be somewhere, we can get it there. It's the process of getting it there that we're going to have to discuss and see the route that we go. And that's typically like the first no you would always get is, oh, my wife's not here. I'll call you later, or I'll email that to me so we could talk about it later. If you get that out of the way, you're having that discussion right then and there, and you don't have to wait for a yes or no from both parties, because now they're both on the phone or they're both in person. They're going to look at each other. Typically, if they want privacy, I'll say, hey, I'll leave my tablet here. You look at the options further. I'm going to step out for 5 minutes and we'll reconvene after that. How does that sound? and I give them their privacy and let them do what they have to do. And then when they come back in, one or two of them have a question. How long does this process take? Is my house going to need to be lived out of for like a couple of days? How's this going to work? Is my power going to be shut off? And you just start explaining the process, and now they're more invested.
What color is the wire going to be?
Yeah, there's actually a lot of colors.
Yeah, I mean, they'll ask you a question because they don't know what to ask. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
they don't know what to ask, so they'll have to ask something.
Yeah, but they will come back with a question, and it's mainly, when can you do it? And if you were doing it, can I stay in my house? Do I have to leave? Is my power going to be off? Those are the typical questions. They want to know if it's going to be inconvenient for them. So I try to take the inconvenience out of it. No, power's not going to be off. No, you don't have to reconvene. I'll try to use as much hand tools, more as power tools as I can to make it a little easier for you. And if they have pets, especially cats, get scared of loud noises. We make it as peaceful as we possibly can. We tell them we put paper down, we'll protect their floors, we'll protect all their appliances, whatever we need to do to make sure that they're taken care of. They don't have to worry about a thing. That's what my job is for. I say, I take everything. I take full responsibility. When I'm here for you and only you, and don't worry about a thing. Your problem is what day and what card you're going to use to pay. That's all you have to worry about. I take it from there. And typically they say, let's do it right after that. Because now they have no reason to say no other than the finance part. Oh, it's a lot more than I thought. It's a lot more than I expected. Well, that's when I say, well, this is what we can do. Let's start breaking things down. What's important to you? What can we remove? What can we redo to make it a little easier for you? And if these are all non-negotiables, then let's explore financing, because we have financing options. You pretty much take the no out of that answer just by that alone, because now I give you multiple options on how we can make it fit your budget, your needs, based on what you're telling me. And I just say, hey, I'm here for you. This is your house. You live here. When I'm gone, it's your responsibility at this point. Ask any questions that you have. Let me know anything I can possibly do for you. And as soon as I do that, I slide them my business card with my work number on it. And I say, hey, I'm available at any given time. If I don't answer, it's because I work with my hands. So you have to bear with me. Leave a voicemail or a text message and I'll get back to you when I can. But at least you have access to me at any given possible with any question that you can have. And they appreciate that.
Of course. And I'm going to enter you in as my electrical guru. I'm going to enter you into my phone as my electrical guru. You said something earlier. You know, you can do a panel, right? A panel, it likely have to get the city involved, unless it's an emergency, right?
Exactly, yeah.
And I know there's courses you can take or course of actions that you can take in order to be able to bypass if somebody is, in desperate need, they need electricity now, et cetera. You can bypass having to go through the process with the city, but that's not always, a lot of times the fact that you've got to get the city involved, pull permits to do a panel, it can delay things.
It really can. The best way that I've learned to kind of speed up that process is make friends with the designer that shows up, and he controls how fast your project can be released. So meet them there. So if I'm going to say, hey, this is not a priority, they have power at this house, but I would like to expedite it, and these are the reasons why. It's right next to a water line or a gas meter, or let's say it's in just very, very poor shape to where it's unethical to leave this panel here because it could fail at any given time. We have a lot of those panels that are in that criteria versus it needs to get done here and now. So I call in the city, I schedule a designer, I get the designer's number, and I leave them a voicemail saying, hey, I'm Isaiah from Parker. We're going to X, Y, and Z address, and I would like to know when you're going to be there so I can meet you there, and then we can discuss what this panel needs. And then that way he can give me a time, he or she, and say, I'm going to be there at Tuesday afternoon at 12. I'll make a point to be there, and when he's there, and I'm going to say, let me show you why this needs to be expedited. Instead of taking a month-long process, it can take a week. So you just shorten that time tremendously just by being there, showing that you're attentive, showing that the homeowner's there. They get more of a personal level on it, and they start to feel more obligated to say, hey, let me just release this design. I understand that they're in need of a panel. This panel's in very poor shape. They have power, but we can expedite it to get our guys out here sooner. And then they'll put you on the front of the list.
I'm sorry, Isaiah, but once again, if it's meant to be, it's up to
me. There you go.
If I want this thing to be expedited and get it done in a week, show up when the designer is there. What can I do to speed this up? And what you're telling us all is figure out how you can build that relationship with the city, with the designer. Wow, that is so powerful. That is so much like extreme ownership, taking ownership. It's no wonder your numbers have gone from 1.2 to 2 million. It's little things around efficiency where you could easily be like, okay, I just sold this job. I'm going to wait for the city. Oh gosh, the city takes so long. They take like a month. I don't like the city. It's like, no, I'm taking it in my own hands.
Yeah, well, because in a month, a lot can happen. They can get a second opinion. They can think about it twice. They can then say, oh, hey, it's been a month and I have no problems. I'm going to cancel this call. There's a lot that can happen in a month. So being on your game and showing them that you're there for them the entire step, they don't feel obligated to rethink. They don't feel obligated to go get a second opinion. They're just like, no, these are my people. This is what's going to happen. And they are on it. So you don't get cancellations that way.
Price doesn't matter.
No.
Price doesn't matter. So let's say we're with a homeowner, and let's say they've got a panel that is a non-Zinsco, right? One that has to be replaced, or a non-Federal Pacific, right? That I know that, insurance companies won't insure. And they're almost afraid to even deal with them because of the fire hazard, right?
Right.
But let's say you're with a homeowner and you're talking to them about a panel replacement, but you've got an alternative for them.
Well, I don't look at it as a replacement to them. You say it's an upgrade for them. So you're not just replacing your panel. I'm upgrading your panel. I'm going to give you more than what you had. So if you ever wanted to grow in this house, you can. You never have to do this process again. It's going to be a one and done, kind of like when you do your landscaping. You can change it a million different ways, but your power supply is going to remain the same. So why not let me upgrade you to today's current standard, our safety standard, our code? Let me give you the best, biggest panel I can possibly give you. Are you planning on adding a pool? Are you planning on adding solar? Let's talk about your ways of this house. You plan on moving and leaving in the next 5 years? Like, how are you going to use this house so I can give you the best results for your house? So, yeah.
And even if they're going to move, you can make their house more valuable to the next homeowner because if they put in some more electricity or electrical capability, that house is more valuable.
Well, I always say, if it's done now, they're not negotiating later. So you don't have to worry about them taking money from your house or haggling with them on trying to get this fixed and having to worry about another contractor showing up and the process is delayed. You lose the sale of your home. It's done now. And guess what? When you're done, you don't have to worry about it. Say, hey, it's already finished. Look, it's permitted. Everything's beautiful out there. That's one thing you can't tell me no from. And then with Parker, if they move within our warranty date, it's transferable. So that's another selling point. Say, hey, you still get the warranty for it. They benefit. So it's a very good selling point if they're still selling their house, but it just depends on what they want to do. Some people want to just leave it as is and hope for the best. And other people are like, let's be proactive and not have to deal with it, especially if it's in a very bad state. So.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm about ready to enter you into my phone as my electrical guru. Isaiah, I'm serious. It's okay. So you mentioned something earlier to me. Say you got a homeowner, electrical panels can be $10,000, $12,000, $15,000. Electrical upgrades.
Yeah.
They can be all of that. You were telling me something earlier called an electrical, I don't know if you called it a rejuvenation.
Rejuvenation. So a rejuvenation is giving your panel a new bill of health without having to replace the actual panel itself. Replacing the guts, cleaning up the wires, all new breakers, new main breaker. And that's, a third of the cost versus a panel replacement entirely. And it's only if the panel's deemable to be rejuvenated. There's some that are too far gone. The condition of it is too far gone, or the parts are obsolete, like those Inscos or Federal Pacifics, which we just won't touch. You just have to replace them. But if yours is like, let's say, a Challenger, a Square D, or like a Siemens panel, they make parts for that we can go and evaluate your panel, start pulling breakers apart, seeing if the busing is perfectly okay. And those are very quick, efficient items that we can get redone inside someone's home. And those can add up very, very quickly with a little bit amount of effort and time. But at the end of it, the homeowner's happy because now they got a safe, reliable panel that we still warranty, and it's going to last a very long time, and they're paying a fraction of the price. While we are happy because we're not stuck there for a day, not waiting with the city or doing a permitting job where it's going to take a while. We're in and out, get it done. You're efficient, on to the next one. And then imagine you can do 1 or 2 of those a day. You're skyrocketing after that.
And a rejuvenation, you said a third of the price, so you're talking $4,000.
Yeah, roughly. Some are even cheaper than that. Depends on the size, depends on the make and model. We have some panels that are like Square D QOs, which is a higher end breaker, or CH is a higher end breaker, so they're a little bit more costly. But those panels last a very good amount of time, especially if you're taking care of them. But then you have like Siemens and GE breakers and Eaton breakers that are on the cheaper side, and you can make that price cheaper. And so a homeowner can even get a rejuvenation for $1,800 you've seen sometimes, or even $1,100 if they're in a condo and they only have a few breakers in there. So you can get it very, very low and cost effective to where they're going to say, this sounds way better than a panel replacement. Let's go that route. But it has to meet what my conditions are. It has to be free of any discoloration. It has to be tight. There has to be no pitting in the aluminum to where it can be reused. So there's nothing that can ever fall back on the company saying, hey, we touched this. It's your responsibility to replace it with a new panel because it's failed within your warranty period. It has to be able to meet all my standards before I give them that rejuvenation cost. So then that way, we don't look like we don't know what we're talking about. We're 100% competent and that it's going to actually work how it's supposed to be. And that just takes an eye. All you have to do is look at it and you can tell. Any electrician should be able to tell. And if you can't, ask the questions on how can I tell that if this is good enough to rejuvenate. It's okay to ask questions before you give misguided information and then end up having a warranty or worse, you're replacing a panel for free. So that's key elements on rejuvenations.
You had mentioned earlier, and we're kind of in the relationship building part of your call. Mm-hmm. And one of the things you mentioned was, questions that you ask to figure out how this homeowner is beaten up on their electrical panel.
Yeah, usage is everything.
Yeah, what are some of those questions that you ask to get the client to open up?
Do you notice any flickering of your lights when you start using, your microwave or your air fryer? And they just go, no, I don't notice that. Does your breaker ever trip? Yeah, sometimes if I'm doing a little much. Then you go, okay. You mind if I explore and show you? You can walk with me. I just want to see what you're using so I can determine if you actually need circuits or not to make sure that the health of your wire is going to stay good. We don't have melting wires, stuff like that. A lot of times people have older homes that were not made to have microwaves, Keurigs, bigger refrigerators. It was a different time. It was uncommon then. And now having a newer panel doesn't save you. You also need circuits. So you have to make sure what they're using, what they're doing. Do they have a gaming PC that takes a lot of wattage? Is their hair dryer pulling too much? It's off of the lighting circuit. You have to find those things out. So you go based off of what they're using, what their needs are. If they're saying, yeah, every time I'm in the backyard and I'm putting my smoker on and I'm trying to watch TV at the same time, it trips the breaker, then that's their way of life. He uses a smoker a lot. He should probably have a dedicated circuit for that. You're just opening those doors of opportunity to make their life better. And then they don't have to compromise on how they live. They don't have to say, okay, well, if I want to cook in my kitchen, I can't use my air fryer. I have to just use my microwave and my oven. I can't use anything else. I have to wait until one of those things are done. That's no way to live. So you just tell them you shouldn't have to sacrifice your home and how you live to make things work. It should work all the time. And we want that for you. So let's add circuits where they're needed. So you don't have to go and compromise in your own home. You can live how you want. And it works a lot doing it that way. And it's better for you because now you've given them every possible option that they can ever think about, and nothing's ever going to come back to you because you touch base on anything electrically that can go wrong.
It's great. Boy, Isaiah, I feel like I can talk to you for like 3 more hours. It's so easy. But I do know this. I do know you have got a panel to go take care of today.
Yeah, I do.
So we got to wrap this up, mainly because you got work to do. And that's what I love. You're going out to take care of a client right now. So before we close, let's say you're talking to some of these young electrical technicians that are out there. What word of advice would you have for them? They're just getting in the trade. They're inspired like you were. Maybe they're struggling a little bit, like you might have, like you said you were at the beginning. What would you tell them?
I would tell them don't give up. It might be hard and it might suck at times, or you might feel like the world's coming down on you because you're digging a circuit, or you're going through a hot attic, or you're going through a crawl space, and you're like, why me? Why am I the one dealing with this? Why is it me having to deal all these crappy jobs no one else wants to do? It's because everybody else did it. Everybody else was there. Everybody else put their time in, and now it's your turn to learn because it's going to make you a better electrician. So don't think it's because somebody's picking on you. Don't think that, oh, you're never going to make money because you don't see the dollars now and you see other people that are. Just know your time will come. If you give up on it prematurely, you're going to regret it big time, because things come with time and it's going to be best for you. Just take your time, stay focused, learn like a sponge, and it's going to benefit you in the long run.
I want to make sure everybody hears that message that you just said, because I think that is the key from what I've heard over the last 60 minutes that we've been talking. Keep learning, ask a lot of questions. I just have to tell you, circling back to some of the stuff that you said earlier, Isaiah, about when you first got in the trade, you even said the person that took you out to show you how to rope a house, what you did is you asked a bunch of questions.
Yeah.
What you realized when you were struggling is you needed to ask better questions to your homeowners.
Yeah, exactly. You have to change it around and stop using I'm not doing good and it's somebody else's fault, to realize like, hey, there's something I'm doing wrong. What am I doing wrong at this point in time? How can I fix it? You ask those questions to yourself, it's going to go a long way, because then you just chip at it one by another, because then you're going to figure out what works for you and what doesn't. Some things might work for me and it doesn't work for another technician, and they're like, I'm doing exactly what you're telling me to do and it doesn't work for me. Well, and then it doesn't work. Let's tweak it. Let's figure out what's going to work for you. Let's figure out how that's going to make you a better electrician, a better salesman at the same time. But at the end of the day, you're there to take care of that homeowner. So put them first and the money will come.
My friend, you are an absolute inspiration, and you are the epitome, if I look at your results, of someone that is always making their future bigger than their past. You are so impeccable when it comes to taking ownership for everything, and I appreciate that about you. And as I said, you're only going to continue to make your future bigger than your past.
Yeah.
So Isaiah Rubio, we're closing this one out, baby, with here's to a bigger future. Thank you so much, my friend.
Yeah, thank you for your time, both of you and Andrew.
You are quite what an interview, and I look so forward to seeing you in San Diego.
Oh yeah, I'll be there.
I know you will be, and I look forward to it, my friend. Take care, Isaiah.
Kevin.
Take care, Isaiah.